Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to the channel, thanks for joining us and checking it out. I hope you're all doing really well. Over the past weeks, I've uploaded a few how-to tutorials offering simple to follow step-by-step instructions on how to tie the most basic of rigs such as the hair rig and the blowback rig. This is to help anyone new to the sport here in the USA or anyone that may want to know more on the basics of rig tying. This next how-to continues in the same fashion but just moves up a notch in terms of more advanced rig tying. I'm going to take a look at the world-renowned Slip D rig. It's a rig I recently used while out fishing and putting together the first in the series of my new session videos that I'll soon be finishing up and have uploaded for you guys to watch. While I was there, I thought it'd be a great idea that once I was home, I'd put a tutorial together for anyone that might be interested in taking a look at how I tie the Slip D rig. Like many rigs, they all have a time and place, but the Slip D is one that will work just about anywhere. It's a rig that can be tweaked in a number of ways and can also fish both bottom baits and a pop-up presentation. It's been in circulation, I believe, since the mid-80s and has seen a number of variations over time. But one thing that is consistent is that it keeps catching fish. So let's take a look at the components you will need and how I tie the Slip D rig. The components you will need are your choice of the following. Hook link material. I prefer to use a stiff coated hook link for this rig. Your choice of hooks, a micro ring swivel or a micro ring bait screw, kickers, anti-tangle sleeves, a puller tool, a baiting needle, snips or braid scissors, bait floss, a lighter, and lastly, your choice of bait. For this demonstration, I'm going to be using the DNA Baits 18mm Nutter S bottom bait in conjunction with the DNA Baits 12mm Milky Malt pop-up. Start the rig by removing 10 to 12 inches of hook link material and strip off roughly 5 inches of the coating. Next, take the stripped end of the hook link material and form a loop, like so. Now, take your hook of choice and pass the loop you have just made through the front of the eye of the hook. At this point, you will need either the micro ring swivel or the micro ring bait screw. Both work just fine for this rig. Using the micro ring swivel allows the use of bait floss. With this, you can mount multiple baits at a time, offering a variation of presentations. I'll go over that a little later in the video though. Moving on, taking the ring of the micro ring swivel and passing it onto the loop of the hook link material, like so. Now, opening the loop of the hook link material, pass it around and over the point of the hook. Once the loop is in place, like so, you can then take the hook and micro ring swivel between your thumb and finger to hold them in place, like so. Like many rigs, this one also uses the knotless knot. Don't worry about the tag end at this time though, that will be removed shortly. Start the knotless knot by going down the shank of the hook. 6 to 8 full wraps around is more than enough, followed by one wrap going back up the shank, then passing the end of the hook link material back through the back of the eye of the hook. Pull the material through until the knot is seated down. At this point, you can trim off the tag end like so. Now, take a kicker and slide onto the hook link material like so. The ready-made kickers are great for this, and this is exactly what I'm using here. Next, slide the kicker down and onto the eye of the hook and slightly onto the shank of the hook. Ensure to check that the curve of the kicker is following the same curve as the hook. This is important and will aid the hook in flipping over as the rig is taken in and blown out of the carp's mouth, resulting in the hook taking hold. Once the kicker is in place, take the end of the hook link material and slide on an anti-tangle sleeve like so. Following this, form a loop in the end of the hook link and tie a simple overhand knot. Now I'll show you both ways to mount baits depending on whether or not you're using a micro ring swivel or the micro ring bait screw. We'll start with the bait screw first. This is the most simple of the two, and it's just a case of taking your chosen hook bait and slightly pushing in as you screw the bait on to the threads of the bait screw. The bait will stay on this firmly until you are ready to change the bait. The next option, and a really good alternative, is the micro ring swivel, using bait floss to mount the baits. Take a short length of bait floss, roughly 5 inches, pass one end through the swivel. Bringing the swivel to the centre of the bait floss and tie a single overhand knot to secure it in place. Next, Mount your chosen baits onto your baiting needle. Then, just as you would with a hair rig, slide the baits off the baiting needle and onto the bait floss by forming a short loop with both tag ends like so. Once the bait or baits are mounted onto the bait floss, snug them up to the micro ring swivel, but do not pull the swivel all the way inside the bait. This will cause the baits to sit too close to the hook and will not allow them to move freely on the D section of the rig. You can see the difference between them here. The rig on the left is able to move freely back and forth along the D section of the rig, whereas the rig on the right, the baits are trapped in the D section between the bait and the ring swivel. Finally, make 2 simple overhand knots, snugging them down to the bait. Trim both tag ends down short and finish off by blobbing the ends of the bait floss with a lighter like so. As a safety note, if you are a minor, it's wonderful to have you here learning and following along with me, but please make sure you're working with a parent or guardian for this part of the tutorial. Bait floss when heated will melt and if touched to the skin can cause burns. So there you have it, a solid rig for many options, giving you the ability to present bottom baits and pop-ups in a number of situations that will help you catch more carp. As always, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments below. And for those of you interested in following along with more of this type of content, be sure to hit that subscribe button along with the notification bell, so that way I can keep you up to date on all my carpy goings on. I hope this tutorial helps you in your angling, and I'd love to hear about it if it has. As always, thanks for watching.